are broadcasting from. Also, I'd like to pay my respects to our elders, and also our elders of more recent arrival. And a big shout out to everybody around the continent that is taking our program via the National Indigenous Radio Service NIRS, or if you're tuning in via our app. 98.9 FM for the best country, which you can download for free from your app store, so please do so. You can also stream us and catch us on demand via our website 989fm.com.au. Please do so, because via our website this program is podcasted, and you can stream us also on Spotify and Apple Podcast, and those platforms beaming us into your communities. And as always, it is great to have your company. Have a very special show today on the program. Have some special guests in the studio with me as well. Going to perform some songs for us. And, usually, I thought, we could do like a Let's Talk History with today's show and, give it a bit of a spin. So we're not going to be talking about history here, but we're going to be talking about the history of our closest neighbours to the north. In West Papua. Today marks their independence. And just before we go any further, could I get some of you mob to introduce yourselves? Let us know who you are, where you're from, your tribes as well, please. Let's move that. And in any order, whoever wants to go first. Yeah. So yep. You would sort of go the mic, brother? Yeah. Pull that down too, brother. Yeah.
Yes. Good morning, everybody. My name is Amatus Douw. I was an ex-political asylum seeker who came by little boat from my country, West Papua, to Australia in 2006. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Good morning. My name is Franky Liong. I'm struggling from West Papua, from Maroke, from Marine Animal Island.
Mm-hmm. Good morning, everybody. My name is Abeiiy Edoway, and I'm one of the TP and PB OPM members, and I'm living in Australia. Thank you.
Thank you for the introduction, Umob. Very important show, like I said, coming up this morning as well. Wanted to sort of give the space to you fellas to tell us your story and the history as well. Because in Australia, when we talk about relationships, our closest neighbours, we always think of New Zealand, but in actual fact, West Papua is closer to Australia here as well, especially the northern parts of our country as well. Later today in Musgrave Park at about 11:30, we're going to raise the West Papuan flag next to the Aboriginal flag, in solidarity and in commemoration and in respect, for the struggle of the West Papuan people as well. So if you are free, come down to 121 Cordelia Street, South Brisbane at 11:30, and we'll be raising the flag with these mob as well. They are musicians, and they are going to perform some songs for us as well. Do you just want to perform one now, or just sort of have a bit of a chat? Have a bit of a chat. Okay, cool, sweet, awesome. So I guess we'll just kick it off. 1971 is the independence, but then not long after that, Indonesia started their occupation in West Papua. Could you tell us a bit about that, and I guess how the independence came about?
Yes, thank you. First of all, on behalf of my people in West Papua and the entire country in West Papua, we am representing 273 tribal groups in West Papua, deeply acknowledge Aboriginal traditions, cultures, and native beliefs, and also this is a big country for your culture. And I thank you on behalf of my people who you welcoming us today, and we can tell more story about what's going on in West Papua.
Definitely, I guess, one of the things, that we like to do on this program, and I think one of the things that we like to do as Aboriginal people is learn our own history, and our connection and where we come from as well. So, we wouldn't be doing justice to ourselves if we weren't, highlighting the struggles and the history of other Indigenous peoples around the world, and especially, those who are as closest, to us, than other sort of nations as well. So, thank yous, for making some time and wanting to come on the program today as well, and share your history with us, because like ours, it isn't some, if not some, most aspects of our history isn't nice, and I think one thing that our history has done is, what the struggle has done is made us strive for better conditions, and we wanted, to fight for a better life, and we can't not do that without sort of telling the stories and the struggles of other people as well. So, no, thank yous again for coming on the program. And yeah, if you just want to sort of tell us a bit about the history of West Papua.
Okay, today, the 1st of December, is the very remarkable and historical day for West Papuan people. When we go back to the history of the colonialism, that colonized West Papua in 1882 to 1963. So the 1st of December in 1961, the Dutch, as the colonial governments, the first time ever recognized the independence of West Papua, recognized national symbols, which were the West Papuan people freely demonstrate their aspirations, and the first time ever the Morning Star flag, West Papuan flag, raised alongside with the Dutch flag. And this is a very significant date that the West Papuan themselves, they believe that this is one of the legal recognition of the Netherlands governments to, giving the independence to really to establish the one nations as same like other countries in the world. But because of the geopolitical constraint, the United States fought Netherlands to leave in 1961. So they just left. After they left, the United States and Indonesia, they have secret deal, which we call New York Agreement in 1962. So in the secret deal, the Indonesian sell all natural resources in West Papua to United States. So without any West Papuan involvement in the agreement or arrangement between two countries, Indonesia and United States, they just agreed. And one point was, they said self-determinations, that's international referendums. The both country decided to give vote for West Papuan people for their own future destiny. And in 1969, that referendum just made up by Indonesia and the United States. So the West Papuan people, what they want was they want to get independence, entire people, without referendum, because the Dutch governments, they already recognized that they are already in independence. But because of this political situations, and also because of Indonesian heavily send military forces to West Papua before after that's left, so they organized their own system of referendum, so they call the Act of Free Choice. But in fact, just only Indonesia under Indonesian military control, they take it about 1,023 West Papuans but the population was about nearly 1 million. That's the one of the, failure of how Indonesian governments, United Nations, and the United States didn't, watch the, referendum, and that's part of the denial of the right of self-determination of West Papuan people.
When we talk about the history of West Papua, is it known to the broader public as well? Like when you have discussions to, other people, about sort of the issues that are happening back home, about the history, is it known to sort of people as much as sort of, I guess, Australian history or whatever, like with what's happening there now, is it known to the broader public?
Oh, yes. Basically, the West Papua issue in the past was silent issue. No one know about what's happening in West Papua. It's very taken a long time because the, Indonesian governments, through their own military control, all media in national media, local media, and also outside media. But just because of the social mainstream media, and the people in West Papua, they rely on social mainstream media to spread the news. And so since that, telling the stories, telling what happening through the media and international communities, like in Australia or the Pacific countries, they just learn from the social mainstream media. And also we have, a couple of international medias as well. They just, cover what's going on basically with the humanitarian situations and, human rights issue. As you know that in West Papua today, we have a couple of, very, very pressing issues today, which is the military operations and also, humanitarian crisis, human rights abuses. The military, operation is not new, but it started in 1961. So they call military zone region in West Papua. So what's going on with the military situation today is for the West Papuan themselves, after 1969, the referendum was failed. Then West Papuan people organized themselves and established the organization. It's called Pre-Papua Movements, or PEM, Organisasi Papua Merdeka. They established in 1971 in order to retain back the right of self-determination. And they declare unilateral independence. They call the Republic State of West Papua. And that declarations historically recognized by a couple of countries, like Senegal and also Vanuatu. That's why today the Vanuatu is very keen to support the right of self-determination. But Indonesia is still controlling the land with the military power. So our West Papuan people also, they organize themselves. That's a resistance movement we have. They're still going on. We call West Papua National Liberation Army. One of the key issues in hiding from the outside is the army conflict. Army conflict has been very long time, about 50 years now. So West Papuan themselves, this is our land. You cannot, take control of my land. As the traditional owner, traditional believers on their own land, the main and key job for the people in West Papua, young generation, is they need to defend their own country through any way. If they're making no war, national liberation war, it is not wrong, according to United Nations, United Nations Charter, because you can get your freedom get back through any by any means. So, because of this military situations, this military operations, it's about 45,000 West Papuan people fled to the jungle, and about nearly 500 West Papuan who are children and women, they died because of no water, no shelter, and also many West Papuan civilian being killed by Indonesian soldiers.
Just really quickly, if you are tuning into Let's Talk, I'm yarning to some West Papuan mob. Today is West Papuan Independence. Later today at 11:30, we are going to raise the West Papuan flag in Musgrave Park at 121 Cordelia Street, South Brisbane. So if you are in and around the area, please come down, and celebrate, today with us and with the community. Not just celebrate, but remember and honour and pay respects to the struggle of the West Papuan people. What I might do is just play a quick ad, and I think the mob are keen to play a song. So I think after this ad, we might hear a song from these mob. You are listening to Let's Talk here on 98.9 FM.
Hey, you mob! Have you had an eye test recently? We should be seeing the optometrist every 2 to 3 years, or every year if you are living with diabetes. Don't forget your little ones too. They should be getting their first eye test before they turn 5, and their second eye test within 5 years, as long as they have no issues. School screenings don't replace normal eye tests, so book your little one in for an eye test at your local clinic before they start school, and set them up for a bright future. The Institute for Urban Indigenous Health has partnered with the Fred Hollows Foundation to give our mob a free pair of style and sunnies when you get your eye test.
Too deadly?
So head down to your local participating clinic today. To find your closest clinic, head to iuih.org.au/find-a-clinic.
A message from the Institute for Urban Indigenous Health.
Station sponsor. This is Bo Spearim with Let's Talk.
And you're back here on 98.9 FM. I think we're going to hear a song as well. Brother Franky, could you let us know the song?
Hello, my name is Franky. Thank you for the radio station. We're going to open the song with the Marine language from the Diggle to Kondo. All right. Anima, mulia, anima, ligula, mulia, anima, mulia, anima, ligula, anima, maroka, anima, mulia. Sakil, kabatab wael, waninga maula. Sakil, kabatab wael, waninga maula, waninga na yumukaba otifani wamate, waninga na yukaba, waninga na yukaba. Neima waya emamukuma kue akai di pamare tamare mare raure akai di pamare tamare mare raure. Poka neima waya emamukuma kue.
Deadly, thanks for that. Tell us about the song.
Thank you. That song we used from the first one, Sakil Kabata Wild from the meeting, And then the Akouboo Pamares came from the Asmat, and then the singer by Arnold Ape.
What's the songs about?
The song from the Asmat, the Asmat is like some of the billets, but I'm from Morocco, so I don't really, I don't know about that, but the song we always use it. But the Sakila Kabatawalis come from where I come from Morocco. Yeah, that song about we have to always be one, like the one kunu with the same wind, like.
Awesome, deadly.
Yeah.
And so, you're all from different villages back home, different tribes?
Yes, basically, I came from Meh tribe, and actually I know about this song. So my friends just, the song, we already in the song. Let's say this telling about how to take back the river, the land, and stone, and this song made up when the Indonesians, occupation started. So one of the West Papuan well-known artists, Arnold Ape, he made it. He, organized young students, and that was part of how he started to building a nationality in West Papua through the song. So he created a lot of, songs, but this very much about how to, taking back the, cultures and beliefs and lands and everything.
And whereabouts in West Papua are you from?
Yeah, I come from the West Papua Highland. It's called name, now it's Douw, but last time was Wagete. Wagete, so I come from there. I grew up from there, and I went to the university. And then when I went to the university, I'm one of the activists. And I'm one of the TPN OPM Free Papua Movement members. Because my dad was one of the well-known people in TPNPB, OPM, and he one of the customer leaders too. So yeah, I'm continuing his dreams to get back our lands from the Indonesian colonialism and etc. And then I came to the Australia to continue my West Papuan voice, how to get back the land. Yeah.
Going to university, like here in Australia, growing up, like we never learned about our history.
Yeah.
We never learned about our language, or our culture as well. Was it sort of the same growing up in West Papua, going to school as well?
Yes, in West Papua we went to the school, but in the national program they cut off all West Papuan culture, all West Papuan culture, all West Papuan languages, all West Papuan lifestyle, all West Papuan traditional belief. They cut off in a national study program. So they learn and they wash our brain with the all Indonesian culture, Indonesian language, Indonesian lifestyle, Indonesian foods, and everything about Indonesian and Asian. So it's really big delay between our original life and Indonesian life. So it's like, for our young generations, maybe our old generation, like my father, my grand, when the colonialization came to that place, to our nations, they did the brainwash to them. But with the internet using or any internet browsing, with the most of the West Papuan, they went to the foreign, they living in another countries. They came back to the West Papuan, they bring new informations. And we went to the universities, to school, we learned everything about it. What's different, what is going on? What is going on? And we opened our minds between the colonialization and then the real life. We learned from there, and yeah, we raised the movement everywhere, the young movements, young organizations.
Was it earlier this year or late last year where there was an uprising with university students?
Yes.
Because I remember just seeing online, and like some of the West Papuan groups that I support online were showing images and videos because I believe that they were using racial slurs towards Papuan people.
Yes, of course. That's not new, but the racial discriminations was established since colonialism established in West Papua. And this one was one of the case, and one of the well-known case in terms of racial discrimination, how the Indonesian government's officials and also Indonesian military and police discriminate against young West Papuan students in Jakarta. And since that, the entire West Papuan people woke up to against these bloody discriminations under Indonesian invasion, and they did protests across the country in West Papua, and about many of West Papuans who demonstrate against these racial discriminations was shot dead by Indonesian soldiers and Indonesian police. That's why in the yearly I said that the real case in West Papua is the militarism.
Well, and one of the things that you mentioned earlier as well is the New York deal. You said between America and Indonesia, which was to give minerals and resources over to the America to America. Sorry, and what minerals are we talking about? What resources are they taking from West Papua?
Exactly, that's very good questions. The deal is the the biggest deposit gold, the natural gold in West Papua. A Freeport McMoran. Freeport McMoran is one of the largest gold and copper company in Indonesia, and second world's largest taxpayer for Indonesia, not to West Papuan. And the huge degradations of the environments, the nature and the cultures. So the Indonesia say to the United States, that's okay. You give the land to me, and I give you this, gift, the oil, the gold deposit to the United States. Until today, the United States always behind Indonesia, and very, very badly and sadly, United States, they provide with military equipment, military training to Indonesia, and also the other country who has investment with this Freeport McMoran, like British as well, Australia before. So the Australian governments also provide military training and police training to West Papua because they have the deal in the past.
Well, at the moment, all over the news, we're seeing, Australia being exposed for, some of the heinous things that they've done in other countries, while being in the military. There's a connection with Australia and Indonesia, through the military?
Yes.
And what is that connection?
Other connections are basically, I'll just a little bit tell the story. When I, myself, and my other 42 West Papuan came by boat in 2006, because the issue was very, very big issue. So Indonesia just kicked out from Australia. And Indonesia says, if you want to, help the West Papuans activists, given the protection, we want to move. We want to cut off all your, relationship, including Australian, mining company in West Papua. We can, get out, cut off the bilateral relationship. So, and they have agreement, Lombok Treaty Agreement. In that Lombok Treaty Agreement today, the both countries, Australia and Indonesia, they agreed to against the West Papuans, people's struggle for self-determinations, and also they agreed to cooperation in military training and police training. I understand what Australian perspective might be, if I'm not wrong, they just educate Indonesian, police or training in terms of how to protect the global anti-terrorism unit in Jakarta, because, many people be aware of growing number of terrorist movement in Indonesia, even in West Papua as well. So maybe for them, but in the reality that I get news and also the report from my colleague in West Papua, every day they say Australian government's funding money and also training, but that the Indonesian trained soldiers or police from Australia, they also were killing West Papuan people. Even one of the West Papuan leader, the resistance leader, Kelly Walik, was shot dead in 2009. 2009 by Australian and United States trained global anti-terrorist unit personnel in Timika. So there is no any benefit if the Australian government is continuing to support training and police training. They will not change the way of Indonesian thinking. The Australian culture, the way of thinking is exactly different with the Indonesians. And for that point, for West Papuan, they are very, very sad when they look at from the different perspective, which is Australia and West Papua is very close neighbor. We have strongly connected in the past with the Aboriginals. They're our brothers, we say our brothers Aboriginals, but we're talking about the politics because the Aboriginal are nothing dealing with this politics. Just Australian governments, the settlers, they made this happen in West Papua. So yeah, I think that's one the message, important message today for the people in Australia, that we West Papuans from our parents help with Australia to save this country during the Second World War. That's part of the moral obligations that how the Australian people to support.
Yeah, it's easy. Yeah, it's sadly easy sometimes for people to forget the relationships that were built even back then as well. I'd love to sort of hear more of the stories of when you came over, because you said yourself came over 2006 with 40 others.
Yes.
What same as well, Frankie?
I came by Kuno as well, but a different trip. I come a second 2009.
Okay. Well, could you tell us about your story, brother?
All right. I can be only two person, me and my brothers, Marcelino Samkakai. So if you're right, I was 70 years old, 18, yeah.
With Marcelino?
Yeah, with Marcelino.
Shout out to Marcelino as well. Yeah, good brother.
I was very young at the time. I didn't speak English anything.
How old was you?
18. Yeah. So, but I've been in detention center in TI for 6 months and sending to Darwin for half years, and then sent to Darwin. We get released. We stay in Brisbane. They sent to Brisbane.
And you've been in Brisbane ever since?
Yeah, I've been doing my study in English skill and stuff. Yeah.
What was it like before you left West Papua? What was happening? What
before we left, because they want me, because my family is come from the TPM OPM as well. My uncle is Bernard Marwen and then John Coconut, and my family has been very controlling by Indonesia military. They want me we all join military. So I have to left. I think my family say I have to left the hometown to be because they don't want me join to military. So I'm struggling.
So the Indonesians wanted to draft you in their military.
Yeah.
So have they been drafting West Papuans in their military for years as well?
Actually when from the high school, we are from the family for freedom fighter. They've been watching, and they want me when we finish high school, we have to be join army. They send form straight away to home. You have to be training military. You have to
So that's like a tactic to sort of break up the resistance back in West Papua.
Trying to be changing.
Yeah. Is there many West Papuans that are serving in the Indonesian military?
Yeah, few of my friends. They join military. Yeah, they want it.
Do they? The Indonesian military officers that are in West Papua, are they mainly Indonesians or West Papuans as well?
Basically, there are many Indonesians, military presence in West Papua, And a couple of numbers, West Papuans who became Indonesians, police and military. But between them, also they have such discriminations. Like for example, if the Indonesians, providing with the weapons or the guns, they don't like to give West Papuans.
West Papuan soldiers,
Yeah. So in the system as well, this is the part of the colonial, breadcrumbs.
That's the same here as well. Like when we had the native police, who were hunting, and raiding Aboriginal camps as well. Exactly. Most times they would walk on foot. The white, police officers would be on horse. Or when the white camps will be, the white officers will be have a camp here and sleep, and the black fellows have to camp far away, not too close. So it's sort of it's a weird thing to think about that. Our people join their military or their police forces, and then inside that there as well, they're still discriminated because of who they are and what they look like, and their history and culture as well. Would love to hear your story of when you come over as well.
My story. Before I came to Australia, I was one of the West Papuans youth leader in Manokwari, and I was very actively involved to advocate about the West Papuans' right, that basically self-determinations. So a couple of times, I think twice, I was arrested by Indonesian military because lead a peaceful demonstration, wearing my traditional uniform and delivered a very powerful speech. After that, they took me down and put in the jail, arrest, 2 weeks. After that, I left, and I was part of the Indonesians list, black list, children activists. I was. And my life was very, connected with what happened in my yearly, age. Like when I was, 7, 8, and 9 years old, I know about the OPM, pre-Papua movements. So I was part of the, just, supplying food and sort of things. It's just, it's from my, background. So because of the strong feeling of the nationalism, West Papuan, and struggle, so I just, left. I know I love, my country. I love, my brothers and sisters. But, I have to, leave.
For safety?
For safety.
And how many came over with you?
43.
Yeah.
43 women, children, and,
In 2000, so when you come over in 2006, that's when they would have done the deal to sort of close the whole border closures, sovereignty border closure stuff, and I'm trying to remember who was in power then. It was just after Howe was out and Rudd was in, or was it Gillard? I'm trying to remember. 2006,
Yeah, John Howard.
John Howard, yes.
John Howard, yes.
And sis, your story is different because you come over via school as well, but obviously your experience as being West Papuan, is exactly the same.
Oh no, it was really different.
Different, yeah.
So, when I was little, like 5 years old, or from the 7 years old, my daddy always involved me to the jungle. Only me, in all my siblings. My daddy always involved me into the TPN, PB, OPM activities in the jungle, like how they supply the food, or how they supply the gun, or how they supply everything for the war activities. At the moment, I learned. Maybe I was still little, but I learned. I tried to get something with that activity with my dad, but my dad was dead in few years ago. And that's okay. It is all the struggling process, so we're still continuing their job. There is nothing to say about that. We are young generations of them. We are still strong. And then I grew up with my family. I went to the school. I went to the university. But along that process, I saw too many women and children issues in West Papua happen when I was little until I came to Australia. So some of them, in my experience, I saw directly in my life experience. every stores, every shopping, every market, the Indonesian traders, they have been selling special labelization food, drinks, and soft drinks. Whether it's made by like food fabric or handmade food. So this labelization food, they specialize for West Papuan. So food fabric that derive from the another Indonesian province, they're selling to the West Papuan province. They labelize on that foods packets. They labelize this is special for West Papua, special for West Papua. So I was taught what's happened with this labelization. Because in the reality, when the West Papuan, they bought all this food, drinks, soft drinks after they drink, and then or they consumed, in the meantime, they will get diarrhea, they will get pain, they will get sick or any healthy issues. So the genocide system is not happen only from the military sides, but it's still happening from that time until now. It's still happening silently in West Papua. So they poisoning West Papuan in the food that's selling in the market. This is one of the secret business between the traders of Indonesia and how they want to kill the West Papuan in the root society. And then most of all stores, shopping and market, the Indonesian traders, they selling poison snakes to the snacks to the kids. So when the kids they buy these foods and drinks and they eat it, and they will get disease easily. And most of West Papuan and kids and women, they died. They have been dying until today. And this is silence issue that's still happening in West Papua. We don't know. The outsider eyes, they cannot watch. They cannot see, they cannot listen. Even these cases never appealing into the media. But what I see is happening there. And the second one is from the hospital, doctors, and other healthcare professionals, they have been doing medical malpractice to West Papuan. For example, they will give the wrong medicine with the different disease or different illness. When the patient took the medicine, and they will die suddenly, or they will get the more harmful with this disease. Even they die every day, they die, people die. And then the Indonesian government will tell to the international public eyes, they say, West Papuan cannot looking after their life. They cannot looking after their lifestyle. They living in dirty situation. But what's happened in the reality? The doctors, hospital and healthcare professional, they give wrong medicine to them. And they get more harmful. They get more they never get better. But even they die every day. They die every day. And then what's happened? I saw directly with my eyes that all hospitals, they give contraceptions to all to prevent the pregnancy without the family approval. They give a contraception to prevent the pregnancy, and even they do the cesarean section without any family approval or family agreements. When the moms they feeling like they want to deliver their baby, and they go to the hospital, and the doctors, without any agreements, they do a cesarean section directly, and then they say to them, and they prevent them with they put some maybe medical utilities or medical things in their womb, and they said you will have not any children in 10 years until 12 years or another 15 years, you will have no any children. So they prevent the West Papuan women to not have children for few years. Even they cut off their wombs. They cut out their wombs without any reasons. And it's have been happening from the past until now. It's still happening. And no one knows about these things. This is part of the genocides. Not only from the military sides. Yeah.
Thank you for that. And We've got, and for the back end of this program, I know we're going to go out with a song, but before that as well, today being a very significant day in the independence, I brought my West Papuan flag with me from home. What happens when you raise the West Papuan flag back home?
Oh yes, this is the Morning Star flag is.
Well, first, could you just tell us about the Morning Star flag, its colours and its shape, like the design? When was the West Papuan flag created?
It's about the 1960s from the West Papuan elders. They created basically. I'm not going to detail about this the flag, but anyway, the Morning Star flag, the Morning Star is coming from the Biak Islands in their own language called Wamura. Wamura is shiny star from the east. Wamura. So it's sort of cultural values inside the flag. So basically we call Morning Star flag. So Wamura, because of this Wamura, everyone everyone was happy, and this is one of representing our national or cultural identities or faith values inside, because the man who gave that flag was one of the native religions leader in Biak Islands. It's a Koreri movement, Koreri. So all West Papuan people, basically from Biak people who went to learn about Koreri movement, they have very strong West Papuan nationalism, including Arnold Ab. So that means that very much represent the blue is represent the star coming from the blue sky, and also it represents as well about the sea. We can see the sea. Basically, that's the sea. We can get the resources from the sea, so we can survive. This is very beautiful. And the diversity of the ecosystem in the sea, and the red, it represents about the blood of the West Papuan people. The West Papuan people blood is the red. It means that they have right to maintain bravely in their own land.
And now, so when you fly the West Papuan flag back home or in Indonesia, what happens?
It's a very big issue. It's about if you raising flag in 1960s, 1970s, and 1980s, when the West Papuan people raising this flag, and the Indonesian military and soldiers they came and just sought that directly, But after the Reformation era in 1909. The Indonesians changed their own policy. So they call, if you raising this Morning Star flag and the Indonesia put you in jail about 15 years. 15 years. If not, maybe they shot it. So many of West Papuan people die because of this Morning Star flag, because of this Wamura flag. So even, that's becoming a daily basis. When West Papuan people bring this raising the Morning Star flag, or maybe they bring with in the back, West Papuan Morning Star flag on the back, or uniform. So not only when this flag raising up, but also if you bring something image with this Morning Star flag, they might be
This time, I'm sure all year round, in West Papua. And for West Papuans living in Indonesia, it's a hard time, with the repression and the discrimination that they get. But this time of the year, does it sort of amp up, and is it a bit more worse because of the significance of the date of December 1st?
Yes, exactly. It is the very, very nervous for Indonesian people and Indonesian governments and their bureaucracy in West Papua. So this is the very anticipated day of the Indonesian colonial authorities. So that before before like 30 of November or maybe from 30, 28 or 26, the military and the presence across the country is very high. It's about 1,000 Indonesian military look after, and they anticipated before 2 days to celebrate this day. Like for example, I got a news yesterday that about 5 people they were preparing to the celebration for today. There was arrest about 5 people in Merauke, where the Franky came from.
Just before we get on to the last song, where can people follow the fight and the plight of West Papua on social media? There's I'm sure social media is a good place to sort of see what is happening back home. Where can we follow? What's the best pages or websites or news articles? Where can we go to find out the truth of West Papua online?
Okay, basically we have a couple of social mainstream media, West Papuan page, and everyone is so important. And some the Indonesian created web page, so they trying to sabotage the programs. But we have pre-Papua movement Facebook page. We have the Free West Papua Facebook page, and the global campaign for UN Peacekeeping Mission to West Papua, which is I was created this campaign because of the army conflict in West Papua. So now many of Australian they flow because we update all news, and also if they want to if the public want to know more about the military operations or about the War of National Liberation, is the Tipping PB news, but usually put in Indonesian language. But for the English is Global Campaign, Free West Papua, and other page as well.
And there's many other West Papuans in different parts of the world as well.
Yes, exactly.
What other parts of the world have West Papuans fled to?
We have in United Kingdom, United States, and Dutch, Netherlands, and also very much in the Pacific regions, and also maybe a couple of in maybe 1 or 2 in Africa. So, but most of them, in Australia.
Now, thank you for coming on the show this morning. I do have to apologize to the listeners who are tuning in via the National Indigenous Radio Service, because in about 2 minutes, they're going to, Nose is going to take you somewhere else, but you can catch the website, the rest of this, the full episode on the website at 989fm.com.au or on our podcast, where you can catch that at Spotify, or also over at Apple Podcast as well. That's where we'll be streaming the show. We're going to go out on a song as well. Franky, what song are we going to go out on?
Welcome back to Franky. This is a song I've been writing for a few months, but I tried to be releasing this year, but there's been COVID. Waiting for next year. This song I wrote about the situation in West Papua, so a little bit rap, and then I use the Indonesia. I try to translate to English next year.
Awesome, Daddy. Thank you, brother. Yeah.
West Papua, sayang. Saudara dengar yang satu ini tentang realitas kehidupan di seberang sana. Oke, dari gunung sampai pantai, bapak sampai mama, kakak sampai adik, jangan lagi ada perbedaan di antara kita. Mari rapatkan barisan dalam satu perahu sesuai arah mata angin yang jelas, menuju matahari terbit terbenam musuh kita. Indonesia stop, jangan lagi ada pembunuhan, pemerkosaan, penindasan, pencurian, penganiayaan. Dalam duka hati kami bangsa Papua menangis minta merdeka, bukan mereka. Papua merdeka. bangsa Indonesia. Kami yang terus diredakan harapan kemerdekaan kami. Bangsa West Papua tidak lagi butuh harta kekayaan alam kami. Sanggup menanggung hidup kami. Bebas, bebaskan kami atas alam raya kami. Bukan bangsa Asia melainkan Pasifik Melanesian yang selalu melayang tinggi di atas awan hitam penuh pelanggaran HAM. Yeah, we are just trying to speak in the world where truth is treason. West Papua, sayang oh. Saudara dengar yang satu ini tentang realitas kehidupan. Sayang oh, sayang.
This is Bo Spearim with Let's Talk.
If you've enjoyed the program, you can catch the repeat at 7 p.m. tonight, or go to our website at 989fm.com.au. And as always, it is a pleasure. You have been listening to Let's Talk here on 98.9 FM.